John Lloyd Young for keeping us all here today. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I think Jay talked about some of these inspiring quotes from previous presidents that really do remind us about why we're gathered here and what lights our path forward. That we can have people who are gathering in rooms and halls like this, as we have throughout this entire campaign, all across the country, big cities, small towns, West Coast, East Coast, Midwest, North, South, people coming together from across party lines, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, Progressives, Conservatives, because we're bound together by one thing. We are bound together by one thing, a deep love and care and concern for each other, for our country, and for our future. That's you. That we can have people who voted for Donald Trump, voted for Hillary Clinton, voted for Bernie Sanders, voted for Ron Paul, come together out of the love of country, not out of a hate for Donald Trump, not out of hate for any one group or another, but motivated by love. And this is what inspires me every single day. That in this people-powered campaign, that we have this diversity of ideas and backgrounds and experiences of people who are heeding the call of those great leaders who have come before us. Jay shared a few very powerful quotes that really remind us that the power to bring about the change we need to see lies in our hands. And we will not fall into the traps that are being set by the divisive talking heads on television or the party leaders on both sides. Power. It is about greed. It is about influence. It is about selfish interests rather than recognizing their responsibility to you. Their responsibility to think about it, to stay focused on how their actions can have a positive or negative impact on the people of this country. This is both disheartening, almost every single day, but also should be hope-inspiring because this causes us to look in the mirror and say, how can I be the change? What action can I take? Remembering President Kennedy saying, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And our country is a representation of us, of who we are. And that is the question and the challenge that is before every single one of you. What message do you want to send to Washington on Tuesday? What message do you want to send about what kind of future you want for yourselves, for your children, for generations to come? That at a time when we are surrounded seemingly by divisiveness and this us versus them tribalistic mentality, fill in the blank, whether it's politics or who you voted for or against, the color of your skin, how you worship, or whether you watch Fox News or MSNBC or CNN. At such a time in this cancel culture where we've forgotten who we are. That if you dare hear someone say something that might be offensive to you or that makes you angry or that you disagree with, it seems more often than not the easiest go-to action or answer to take is say, silence, cancel, delete your account, I don't want to know you. That's a dangerous thing. It might be easy, it might make you feel better, it might make you feel kind of righteous, but it's a dangerous thing. It's a dangerous thing that undermines the very foundation of this country, that is rooted in freedom for everyone. Rooted in freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom to worship. That freedom means that every one of us has the right to speak, to share our views, to share our opinions, and that we are stronger for it as a nation. When all of us, we stand up for that right, every one of us, and that we treat each other with respect, that even as we may disagree, even as, this happens to me too, sometimes I'll hear people say things on TV that drive me crazy. How can you say this? The truth is so obvious. I am willing to lay my life down for that person's right to say those things. This is what our freedoms are all about. And to not be afraid of it. Not be afraid of having an open and honest discourse and debate about our ideas. Setting aside the superficial barriers that so often stand between us, where if you say, okay, you're a Democrat, therefore you are this. Or if you have an R next to your name, then therefore you are that. If you were a Trump voter, therefore you are this. You are a voter for this person or that person. Prejudging people based on these superficial classifications, rather than recognizing who we really are and giving people the benefit of the doubt to say, okay, maybe I don't like the decision that you made. Maybe I should try to better understand it, better understand you. So as we think about how we heal these divides in this country, this is where we find the answer. The answer is in our hearts. The answer is in our hands. The choices that we make in the ballot box, but also the choices that we make every day. I was meeting with some friends last night in San Francisco and made some new friends, and this was the conversation we were having, that so often there are people who just don't feel safe expressing their opinion in this vitriolic cancel culture. And it made me sad, because this is America. We're supposed to feel free. We're supposed to be able to share our opinions without being concerned about what impact it may have on your job, or what friends you may lose in the process, or what family members may decide to shut you out. Change lies in our hands. And it lies in our ability to treat each other with respect. To follow the example of President Lincoln when he said, I don't like that man. I need to know him better. So grateful to experience throughout this entire campaign, where people may come in with preconceived notions, but through the course even of an hour or 2 hour long conversation, kind of start to think about things maybe from a different perspective. You hear from someone who's coming from a different experience, saying, hey, well, what about this angle on that issue? Maybe here's a different solution that you haven't thought of. It's a beautiful thing that we not only need more of in our everyday lives, but this is the spirit of what is necessary in Washington, where we treat each other with respect, and we are inspired by the example of leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King, who showed us very clearly that even at a time of terrible divisiveness, with a dark shadow being cast over our country, in his battle for justice, his battle for equality, his battle for opportunity, fighting against poverty, fighting against war, always staying very consistent with the heart of his movement that was centered around the reality that darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And that hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. It is this love, or what we in Hawaii call aloha, that has the power to heal our wounds, that has the power to reignite that spark of light that exists in every single one of our hearts, to inspire us to treat each other with respect, to remember that we are all God's children. We are all connected. And therefore, see each other for who we are and work together to bring about that positive change for all of us. Really bringing to heart what it says in the Pledge of Allegiance: liberty and justice for all. One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is our how. How do we do this? And I get asked this all the time. Things seem so dark and so dismal. I'm just curious, how many of you are on Twitter? Okay, a handful. The rest of you live better lives. I'm just saying. It's a great way to communicate, but you gotta be careful. There's a lot of toxicity where people feel comfortable saying pretty nasty, hate-filled things on Twitter that they would never say in real life. But even there, on that platform, how do you be the one that brings the light to that conversation? Instead of adding more of that darkness, bringing that light. Seeing how we can shape the direction not only of these conversations, but drive people to themselves to begin to reflect. Saying, what impact am I having on the world? You may not get the immediate response that you hope for. Nonetheless, you drive. Because we cannot stop here. The work is not done after you cast your vote on Tuesday. You've got your ballot right there. The work is not done after you put that in the mailbox. Thank you. So I start with this message because as we open the conversation, I want to hear what's on your minds. I want to address any lingering concerns that you may have. But I start with this message because this is at the heart of how we move forward. This is what is at the heart of what lights that path forward for us. Yes, the obstacles are great. The challenges are many. Every day we are reminded of how much the DNC and their corporate media partners are trying to silence our voices because they're afraid of the truth. They're afraid of people's voices. And they're afraid of the change that we seek to bring about that will lead us towards a government of, by, and for the people, wresting that power from their hands in the government that exists today of, by, and for the powerful elite. You know something is really wrong when, as day after day goes on in this campaign, you're seeing people spending lots of money and time and energy to try to line up superdelegates in advance of the convention in Milwaukee to say we got to be prepared to overrule the voices of the people because we're scared of who they might choose. This is the reality that we're facing. And the magnitude of the obstacles that we have to overcome. But we cannot be dismayed, we cannot be cowed. We just got to say, all right, we got to work harder. We got to speak up louder. Because as we look throughout history, all of the big changes that we've seen in this country have come from we, the people, standing up and making sure that our voices are heard. Woo! That's on us. That's on us. And this continues after the election. Because even as we talk about the different ideas and solutions that we want to see implemented, we're dealing with a pretty longer be made in the interests of their best friend, big time lobbyists who work for big pharma or big insurance or private prisons. You can fill in the blanks. But remind them about who has the power to hire and fire them. That's you. That's you. And your continued engagement, our continued conversation will be necessary to pass those bills, to enact legislation that really will bring about the systemic change that we need to see in every single sector, whether we're talking about ensuring quality, affordable health care for every American, protecting our environment and ensuring clean water and clean air in this country, enacting real criminal justice reform that we haven't seen in so long, bringing about real comprehensive immigration reform, protecting our environment, transitioning off of fossil fuels, and investing in a clean, green, renewable energy future. All of these things aren't just Democrat ideas. These are changes essential for humanity, for all of us. And by staying focused on that, and away from the polarization, is how we bridge these divides in the country and in Congress so we can just get stuff done. We can deliver results where we can bring about an end to this common refrain that we've heard over and over and over again for too long, that there's just no money. There's no money for education. There's not enough money to pay our teachers what they deserve. There's not enough money to protect our environment. There's not enough money to freaking get masks and testing kits for this coronavirus. Somehow, Scotland and South Korea and many other countries in between have figured it out where they've got drive-through stations. If you're feeling a little bit sick, you can go and pull your car up, get your test back, and get the results within minutes. Well, how many testing kits does California have? 200 for the entire state? Give me a break. But this is what I'm talking about. We've been told over and over again there's not enough money to make sure the needs of the people are being served. And yet, where are our taxpayer dollars going? How is it that there's not enough money for the essential things that the people of our country need? They're going to wage these wasteful regime change wars, going and toppling dictators in other countries, following up those wars with nation-building missions. They're going toward this new Cold War with escalating tensions between the U.S. and other nuclear-armed countries like Russia and China, going towards a new nuclear arms race that is being fueled by treaties that are being thrown in the trash that have kept us safe. All of these things are not making us more safe, but they're costing us tremendously in lives. Our men and women in uniform, lives of the people in countries where we wage these wars, and they're costing every single one of us. The dollars that are coming out of our pockets, and that are not going towards serving our national security needs, or the everyday needs of people right here at home. This is the change we'll bring about. To bring about an end to these wasteful wars and instead redirect our taxpayer dollars towards serving your needs, the needs of everyday Americans right here at home. This change is within our hands. The choice is ours. We can kick the can down the road, cross our fingers and hope, hey, maybe something will work out somehow, some way. Or we can make that decision now to take action. not only ourselves, but making sure when you go and cast your ballot on Tuesday that you got a car full of people. Making sure that there's not a single name on your cell phone contact list that you haven't talked to. Making sure you send those messages to everybody you know on Facebook. I know something about thousands of people on Facebook you can be talking to. Don't think that your voice doesn't matter. Don't stay home and not cast your vote because you think your voice won't be heard. It is the only thing that matters. It is the only thing that can bring about this change. And this is where I am both grateful to every one of you and I am counting on every single one of you to continue to be the fuel behind our people-powered campaign, continue to carry our message out to voters so that they know even with all the corporate media blackouts and smears, even with all of these challenges, it is the voices of the people that will be heard. This is our country. Let's make sure Washington remembers that. This is our country.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to do a quick shout out. The only really is prevalent in my head is that you're because it seems like when people go against the grain, they run into a lot of feedback to say, and I just want to ask you about that. It concerns me.
Thank you. I get these calls from my dad with the very same concerns. And I appreciate it. It's something that we don't take lightly, that we're very conscious of. We have some security assistance here today, and we're taking precautions. I'll leave it at that. Is that cool? All right. I know you got my dad anyway, so. Thank you. Well, one moment. He'll send you the microphone here.
What do you think about our relationship with Saudi Arabia and the fact that they are the real enemy, and but yet at the same time, without them, our whole economy will collapse? Can you describe the relationship?
For too long, leaders in our country have had the interests of Saudi Arabia, even to the detriment of our own security and our own interests. As president, that stops with me. Yeah. We are the United States of America, and we have to exercise the kind of leadership, both with regards to countries like Saudi Arabia, with Turkey, right now, countries who believe they can act with impunity because of our country's track record in refusing to stand up and say no. Saudi Arabia, I'll mention this briefly, but I want to talk for a moment about Turkey as well, because there's something happening right now that has a very direct risk to all of us. Saudi Arabia, and I've supported legislation to do this, to stop sending them weapons. We have to stop supporting their genocidal war in Yemen that is continuing to this day. With the deaths of so many people, and millions of people more to starve and suffer. Understanding Saudi Arabia remains both a direct and indirect supporter of terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda and others. They're the #1 exporter of the Wahhabi Salafist ideology that's fueling these terrorist organizations. And we've got to call it out like it is and call for an end to that. What's happening with Turkey right now as a NATO ally, they have started a war with Syria, one they've been waging for a very long time, a little bit in strong leadership based on experience, understanding in national security and foreign policy is necessary to have in the White House as Commander-in-Chief. To be able to recognize what Turkey is doing and how detrimental an impact it has on our national